Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 10th, 2020 episode of the Cyber Insecurity stream. My name is Neil Bridges, as always, and thank you for joining me today. Welcome to all of our new joiners, as well as our our regular visitors. Wow, I'm going to have to work on that intro a little bit. Welcome to the Saturday night stream. Tonight is going to be more of a chat and chill kind of night tonight. We do finally have our Discord server up, so for those who are listening right now, you can hit that exclamation point Discord and get it picked up on our Discord server. Do see some more folks joining in. So kind of carrying on with the intro here a little bit. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, we do stream from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are here to elevate the conversation around cybersecurity. What exactly does that mean, right? We have a problem in this industry where we don't have real conversations about the topics that affect our ability to secure people, data, and companies. And if you take a look at some of the streams that we've had here recently, you'll see that that's really what we're focused on is having some of those real conversations, with real folks who are doing some of the real work out there. Cybersecurity is an ever-changing landscape, and our goal is really to focus on multiple aspects of that industry. You're probably going to hear a lot of terms like red teamer and blue teamer. Think you're out of your league. You're really not. We also discuss a ton of cyber risk, impacts to our current landscape, and they are the possible when dealing with today's cybersecurity issues. Whether you're an experienced veteran, whether you're new to the field, whether you barely know how to spell cyber, or with somebody who was born in cyber, this stream really is for you. And as such, we are here for you in the community, and we are here for your participation. We do regularly try to have professionals from across the industry join us. You will see tonight, we won't have anybody join us tonight. It is pretty common for us to not have folks on our Saturday stream, so you're kind of stuck with me tonight. If you do have any questions, this is obviously one of the best times to ask is during the stream about any topic, anywhere, whether it's top of mind, and we'll do our best to address them. We do have moderators in chat. They are there to help out as well. And we do broadcast via Twitch for our regularly scheduled broadcast, but you can find our videos in the videos section of Twitch or by going over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button over on YouTube and hit that little bell notification so you are notified when we do go live. Do see that 25% of you don't have notifications turned on for Twitch, and about 40% of you do check out our videos and aren't subscribed to our channel. We would very much appreciate if you turn up that notification and that subscriber level just a little bit. We are here for you, the community, and strive to bring you the most intriguing opinions, points of views, and conversations in the cybersecurity every single solitary stream. We appreciate all of our followers and subscribers. Subscribers will start to get early access to some of our special events and features, especially in our Discord channel. We'll kind of talk a little bit about that a little bit tonight as I work through some things. We have had a couple people donate to the stream. Actually, Theresian, if you're on or if you're listening, always thank you for your donations. Theresian is our top donator. Any and all donations that are donated to the stream will immediately be sent to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. We do thank all of our vets for their service and sacrifice. If you would like to support Wounded Warrior, you can head over to our About section and submit your donation there. Obviously, you don't have to. Wounded Warrior, you can go and donate yourself if you want to, but if you want to submit it through the stream, we'd be more than happy to take it. There's obviously no obligation to do any of those. We're going to continue to deliver content, but your proceeds do, go directly to supporting all the efforts of this stream. So with that, let's talk a little bit about tonight's stream. Tonight's going to be one of those chat and chill streams. If you got the notification, you saw the title. This is going to be one of those easy nights. Just to kind of go through some community news. Just a last reminder for the week. I know we've talked about it in the previous streams, but we'll kind of talk about it in this stream as well. We did get our new emotes approved for Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 subs. Make sure you check out those. Tier 2, obviously gets the coveted hoodie hacker emote, and our tier 3s get our hacker man emote, so don't forget about that. Second part of kind of the community news, just reminded everybody about the Hacked Planet score down at the bottom of the screen for the chat windows. Remember, it is you, the community, that determines when we give our next when we do our next giveaway via our Hacked Planet score. As of tonight, it looks like we are 21% of our way to our goal. We've got 13 days left, out of that goal to see if we do our next giveaway. I had security guru guy correct me last time. He was exactly right. We've got some Hack 5 pineapples. We've got some Hack 5 land turtles back there. We've got tons of hacker gear that we can give away. Also, we're continuing to onboard sponsors. One of our premier sponsors is I&E Training. Those of you that are in the beta, hopefully you're getting some good value out of being in the beta. Those who were on the stream those of you who are on the stream, sorry, I got distracted by a DM. Those of you who are on the stream before, you knew that early beta invites went to folks who paid attention to the stream. That is one of the values of making sure that you do tune into the stream every single time, and are listening for some of those new updates is for some of those things like that. I&E Training has given us a special discount code, so we can start giving away discounts and free training for that. And so the Hacked Planet score is definitely something that we need to get elevated a little bit so we can do another one of those giveaways. We do love doing those giveaways, and so definitely looking forward to when we hit that 100%. Lots of ways that you can contribute to the Hack Planet score. Obviously, participating in chat. Obviously, keeping me hydrated. Make sure remind me to stretch. You can suggest a poll for us to run, or if you've got somebody that that you follow or that you want us to raid when we get to the end of the stream, then you can suggest that. Subscribers get additional multipliers, which helps us get our goal faster. So obviously all of that does help. Don't forget that Hacked Planet score down at the bottom of the screen. That's how you contribute to that. Couple of other community reminders. I'm going to keep reminding everybody of this. November 7th, make sure you put it on a calendar. It's a little under a month away now. As part of the Secure West Virginia conference, and you can hit your exclamation point, Secure West Virginia for that. You can, we will be doing this show, so usually our Saturday night show. We are going to be doing that in front of the Secure West Virginia conference. We're expecting that to be a huge turnout, hopefully. Well over 500 people usually in attendance, hopefully virtually for that one. We are going to have Rob Lee from Dragos Inc. On the stream that night, talking about some of the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as things that are pertaining to industrial control systems and things like that. If you don't know Rob, he's a former Air Force operator. He's kind of the creator of SANS industrial control system courses. He is literally the de facto standard when it comes to industrial control system cybersecurity. He consults for some of the biggest Fortune companies out there when it comes to their industrial control system stuff. He's been on Vice to kind of contribute to some of the stuff that they've had on Vice and whatnot. So it's a great opportunity to kind of come and chat with him and get some kind of some down low on the industrial control system space from him. Other folks will be speaking at Secure West Virginia. John Strands from Black Hills, the Worldwide Hacking Festival will be there as well, giving courses away. So don't want to miss out on that. Again, that's exclamation point Secure WV inside of the chat to get that information. So with that is really kind of the last of the community information for tonight. As I mentioned, as I promised, we did get the Discord server up and running. You can use that exclamation point Discord to get the Discord address if you are interested in joining our Discord server. It is coming along. That's actually probably some of the development that I'll actually probably do tonight on stream, is kind of messing around with the Discord server, continuing to get that set up and running. Probably work on some of the Pew Pew map development tonight. Really, kind of like I said, you're gonna see Nightbots chatting out there. It's gonna be a chat and chill / AMA tonight. We'll probably kind of keep it nice and easy, just kind of chill with you guys. We do have some news that we could talk about. We may get into that a little bit later from a news perspective, but for now, I think I'll turn it over to chat, see if there's anything in chat. Otherwise, I'll put on some copyright-free music, and hoping that Twitch doesn't ban any of my copyright sounds. Been trying to find some good copyright music to put on that isn't going to get us DCMA'd or otherwise blocked on Twitch whenever we put music up. But with that, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and start heading on over and doing some development. We'll probably throw up. Let's roll with. Let's see what we can do here. Make this. Get our monitors switched up around here so we can walk and talk at the same time. Actually, what I wanted to do earlier, if anybody was paying attention when I ran the getting started, is I wanted to drop in the Pew Pew map a little bit. Actually, I was going to try this out. I was going to see if I could make the Pew Pew map live on stream at the same time as. So yeah, I accidentally ran this earlier. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Whoops, nope. I love these guys here. These guys bad packets. These guys are pretty awesome. Let's drop in some music here. There we go. Drop in a little music. Keep that low. Let me know, chat, if that ends up being too loud. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Man. See, this is why I wanted to do it via API. Yeah, this is exactly why I wanted to do this one via API. And we'll leave that one there for a little bit. Do. There we go. Easy peasy, just like that. Now we got the Pew Pew map up. Yes, I've used Dratus before, Nate. New and old Dratus. Dratus isn't bad. You have to spend the time to do the integrations. I think so I've got mixed feelings on Dratus, right? I think if you're going to spend the time to do the integrations on Dratus and you're going to get it hooked into Metasploit and Nessus or Nexpose or OpenVAS, or you're going to do the imports on Nmap and things like that, then I absolutely think Dratus is awesome. The outputs can be a little janky, and I absolutely would caution against just taking the outputs straight from Dratus over to your client or over to whoever else you're going to give the report to. Although I think you're doing that's right. You're also talking about the tweet you sent me the DM you sent me on Twitter the other day. I know for a fact that SecureWorks uses or used to use Dratus all the time. That used to be their report format. They'd bring everything into Dratus, and then they would export everything out of Dratus to, then use that as part of their report format before they would send it over to the client. So you can use it, but I think you just need to spend some time actually putting the effort into Dratus to making it customizable, if you will, for you. But if you're looking for a real easy report format to stand up, I think Dratus is a good way to start. I definitely don't have any complaints about Dratus. So if you're talking about what you sent me in DM kind of the other night, what I would say, or the other day, what I'd say is that whatever tool that you're looking for to do the Active Directory stuff that you and I were chatting about, you might have a hard time pulling it into Dratus unless you created a custom parser for it. Reporting is one of those things that none of us like to do. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure all of us hate to do reporting, but it is a necessary evil when it comes to a lot of the work that we do. I can't stress enough how important it is to be able to write good reports, and I don't mean that from a grammatically correct perspective. Only it's a the thing you got to remember most about report writing, right, is that's what our clients are going to see when they receive something from us, whether you're on the red team or the blue team, whether you're doing a threat hunting report or anything else. That report, when you hand it to them, has got to have all of the good data that you're hoping to be able to convey to the client. And so it's incredibly important that, as awesome as it is to hack everything, or do a threat hunt or do a vulnerability assessment, because we all know the vulnerability assessments are really exciting and whatnot. It's incredibly important to make sure that you're also taking time to put it into your report. Hey, good day, Crumbs. Welcome to the stream. We're chatting and chilling tonight, Crumbs, or morning for you, I should say. Happy Sunday morning to you, sir. Dratus is promising for the vulns, Nate. Like I said, if you're gonna use Nmap, Nessus, Nexpose, OpenVAS, if you do Metasploit, so what you could do also is you could do Metasploit. So automation at its finest, right? And I think you'd like this just based on the conversation we had in Twitter the other day, right? Is you could actually set up Metasploit. I I'd say Metasploit, and pick a vulnerability scanner, Nessus, OpenVAS, or Nexpose. With Metasploit, you could actually then write you a script, whatever language you wanted to. It could be Bash, it could be Python, it could be Ruby if you're so desire. But use the API on Metasploit and actually write your script in Bash so that it runs checks out of the auxiliary directory instead of Metasploit. So if you let's say that you're running against the Active Directory environment, right? Go through all of the auxiliary and go through all of the scan items inside of Metasploit and pick the ones that you want to run. You can actually then run all of that stuff, save it to a workspace, import that workspace into Dratus, and then you can get all of that vuln data from Metasploit into Dratus. That'll help you do things like SMB brute forcing, SMB version numbers. You can do some MS1710 checks. You can do tons of stuff inside of those directories. So poor man's, I wouldn't call it. I mean, I think when you start using some of the Metasploit modules, you could probably sneak away from the concept of calling it a vuln scan. You could actually probably call it a pen test light. In the sense that, like, if you did, I'll give you an example with like 08067 inside of Metasploit. 08067 in Metasploit has a check module, and that check module is 100% accurate. I could name some times where 08067 would fail, but it has nothing to do with a problem with the code inside of Metasploit. It has things to do with things that are happening on the server that the Metasploit check module doesn't actually check for. But I would call it like a 99.99% accuracy on 08067. And so if you imagine pen test light, right? Ultimately we want to exploit 08067 and get a shell on there and then dump everything on that box. But if you were to say, run the check module, that's the next best thing from actually exploiting it. And then you would at least have a 99.9% accuracy rate as to whether that's legitimate or not. Why is the chat and chill bot running, but the freaking Discord bot is not? Oh, it's because the Discord bot's on a 15-minute timer. Whoops. There we go. That's why. There. Discord bot's running. So yeah. So just that's some fun that you can have with all of that. Also was comparing reports in Nessus and Greybone. Pay OpenVAS. If you have to pay, do Nessus over Greenbone. You'll be much happier with the results on Nessus than you will be with OpenVAS, just because the reporting and the modules and everything else like that are way better on Nessus. And I think Nessus is only $2,500 a year. At least it used to be only $2,500 a year. Which, if you're on a shoestring budget and you're gonna have to pay anyway, that's actually not terrible. Any open source alternatives to Nessus and the like? 2,500 is so Greenbone that you saw, I don't know if you saw Nate do it before, but OpenVAS. I don't know if it's still included in Kali or not, but if it's not, OpenVAS is open source vulnerability scanner. If you missed it, what I said before, Robax, you could actually script out a combination of things between like Metasploit and Nmap. And you can get a poor man's vulnerability scanner. The only thing you miss out on is the reporting. And so that's where you can use something like Dratus. Greenbone's the graphical front end for it. You can still use OpenVAS. Let me just double check that, unless that's been recently changed. Yeah, see, so Greenbone still, Greenbone owns it. Yeah, OpenVAS is the engine. But it is still free. It looks like. I'm checking. Yeah, see, here we go. Uh, 30% less detections than the fee. Well, so what? Don't listen to the sales team. Okay, like just so the community edition pulls from NVD, right? That's what the community edition does. And so if it's a detection that has been released per NVD, then it's included in OpenVAS. What they're talking about is they're talking about some of the premium add-ons that let you do, like web app scanning and some of the other shit like that. Sorry, swear jar. But you can still use this, and again, I wouldn't get so caught up on the 30% less detections. Again, you got to remember these guys have to make money somehow. But vulnerability scanning isn't rocket science. All of that stuff is out there. It's all relatively open sourced. If you're looking for a vulnerability scanner that's free and open source, OpenVAS is the best way to go. If you have to pay money, $2,500 at Nessus, I think is still the better deal from that perspective. Because Greenbone, you got to remember that Nessus was built off of OpenVAS before Nessus decided to go charge everything for it. Everybody has to charge something at some point in time, which is now why Greenbone is doing it. But Greenbone is still pulling in those detections from NVD and still using NVD for all of the back end stuff. So I would still, I don't think there's anything hurting by not going to OpenVAS. Quite honestly, if you're on a budget, if you're on a shoestring budget, I would go to OpenVAS. Yeah, Nexpos. So if I were to rank them, like from awesome to not awesome, it would be like Nexpos, Nessus, Qualys, OpenVAS. But that's you're also going to pay for Nexpos. Like you said, the pricing wasn't even close. You're gonna pay out the Yahoo for Nexpos, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, we had Nexpos at one of the companies that I worked with, and it was definitely it was awesome. They had a lot of really good integrations. But at the same time, it's like you pay for all of those integrations. You pay for a lot of that reporting, a lot of the custom reporting and things like that. So, yeah, definitely. So yeah, so back to what you were asking for, Robax. This is it. This is OpenVAS. Would use this. Again, 50,000 vulnerability tests. Look, unless you absolutely needs, like, here's what you get with like the Nessuses, the Qualyses, the Nexpos. They had detections out for zero login the day that it dropped, right? That's what you're paying for. But if you need that type of stuff that's up to the minute, then you shouldn't be looking for an open source scanning tool anyway. If you need up to the minute type of detections, you should be using a paid version, because you're obviously doing something that is a little bit more enterprise grade. Speaking of enterprise grade, did Carmen and I were talking about this one today. Did anybody see that Microsoft is letting employees work from home permanently? I thought this was funny because on stream, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we were just talking about how we didn't think it would ever be Microsoft would never be one of those companies that would allow people to work from home indefinitely because of the amount of money that they've spent on their campus and things like that. So Carmen and I were chatting about this. Microsoft did announce that they were going to not only allow employees to work from home permanently, but also be able to relocate. And I think this goes to like the state of COVID and some of the things that we've talked about. It's just like, this is huge. This is really, really huge. Like if a company like Microsoft is willing to forego the billions of dollars that they've put into their campus and allow their employees to work from home permanently, I think this is going to be amazing to see how many other companies look at this and follow suit. It's not the first company sec IT guy by any stretch. I think Twitter was one of the first companies to be like, you'll never have to come back into work ever. But here recently, companies like Apple and Netflix and some other organizations that have spent billions of dollars on these large campuses, and I know one of the pharma companies that I used to work for has spent a lot of money on large campuses. Those people who have got tons of money invested into capital real estate and things like that, are definitely not interested in moving to a permanent work from home because of how much money they've invested in that capital. And so I think it says, and I think when you look at IBM, Microsoft, Dell, Twitter, Facebook, Apple. I'm trying to go through all the tech companies that I've ever been to, visited, or seen or read about that have like these massive campuses. All of these massive campuses, right? They got to do something to get people back onto those campuses. That was the whole reason why they built like daycares and gyms and all of this other stuff to keep people incentivized to be on those campuses. And so I definitely think that it says something about the culture and which way things are going when you see that shift to that. Yeah, LinkedIn has a new office. It's under construction down the street. It's amazing to me. It doesn't matter where we go here in Chicago. There's still tons of empty office buildings. I talk to friends and peers all the time, and they talked about how like they'd love to go back in the office, but their office isn't opening up. They don't even know if their office is going to open up. It's like I said, I'm optimistic and cynical at the same time. I would really, really love for more companies to follow Microsoft's, lead on this, but I'm also cynical that I don't think it'll happen. Here's kind of the downside, and I'm glad this article pointed it out, because I think everybody should recognize this, right? And let's see if I can find it down here. Yeah, here we go. This is the one that people need to realize, right? While Microsoft employees will be allowed to move across the country for remote work, compensation and benefits will change and vary depending on the company's own geo-pay scale. Like that's something everybody's got to pay attention to, right? Is depending on where you live, depending on where you're at, moving sounds nice, and being able to work remotely anywhere sounds nice. But when you think about some of the places that are out there, I'll give Florida as an example. There are places in Florida that are cheaper to live than, say, someplace like Chicago or New York or LA or somewhere like that. And, but if Microsoft were to say, well, it's 15% cheaper to live in Florida than it is in Chicago or New York, then you need to be prepared to have your pay reduced by 15% if you want to go live in Chicago or New York. Company wife works for bought a lot of land for development and building a headquarters to support 2,000 employees. Currently, like 800. Yeah, I'm wondering if they can. I mean, I'm sure they're not the only ones. There's, I think corporate, corporate real estate and things like that, and things like that are going to get hit really, really hard for COVID. Our office is at 10% capacity in NYC is apparently a huge issue. There are lines at the elevators to ensure appropriate social distancing. Yeah, Well, it's similar pay structure. Like I remember that pay structure from the DoD, right? Cost of living allowance and things like that. But I think you knew what you were getting into in the DoD, right? You had a cost of living allowance worksheet. It would say like, if you lived here, here's what your cost of living allowance was, right? And it was a flat amount, and you knew what it was. I don't think I don't think companies have that level of discipline to be able to say, well, you're going to move from New York to Florida, and so we're going to dock your pay by 15%. I think they're just guessing on that. I don't, and they won't publish it either. And so it's not like you even know, like you can't even like go into your corporate office and be like, hey, I want to move to Florida. What's my pay change going to be for doing that? I don't think that the structure's in place for figuring that out yet. Yeah, I think they will have to as well. I don't think you can get away from it. Speaking of company news, anybody see this one too? IBM to split into two companies by the end of 2021. What I think is, this is one of the things that highlights. We've talked about this a lot on the stream as well, right? Is the focus around cloud security and really the importance of cloud security. And I think this is just another example of how important cloud has become in today's digital world. They have an entire IBM split focused on cloud and hybrid computing, as well as AI, and then all this new company that they haven't even named yet to do managed infrastructure, services company and things like that. I think when you look at this, I think we used to all the time joke. I don't know if anybody remembers this or not, but we used to always talk about IBM, being the place where software and technology goes to die, just because like when things go to IBM, when IBM buys things, it has a really bad tendency to never see the light of day ever again. And you have to wonder if IBM's getting to the point to where it's like splitting off in between two different companies, managed infrastructure services, right? I mean that's still, when you talk about that, that's modern IT infrastructure. It's your on-prem data centers and things like that. And with the way COVID is treating things and whatnot, you have to wonder if much, if any of that is still, kind of left out there, and how much of that is going to start to grow away or diminish over time. The service delivery excellence, that's the part that I'm interested in, because if any of you are any red teamers out there, IBM has their X-Force penetration testing team and whatnot that's associated, as well as a lot of their other managed services folks. What's not listed on the left-hand side is that managed service component, and it does actually say service delivery on the right-hand side. So I'm wondering if all the managed service components are staying with the new company. I hate to be cynical towards the new company, but when you look at this $60 billion in revenue over here, and this new company, with about $20 billion in revenue that doesn't even have a new name yet, over here, this definitely feels like a divestiture more than a splitting up into two different companies. AS400 mainframe seems to be missing too. I wonder why. I bet that stayed. Well, you probably could have stayed under IT infrastructure if it wasn't for modernization, right? For those who are, I see we've got tons of people who are starting to join the Discord. Make sure you hit that exclamation Discord if you are interested in joining our Discord channel. The roles are synced to Twitch roles, so subs do have perks inside of Discord as well as inside of Twitch. And so if you find that you're not getting the appropriate role assigned to you inside of Discord, especially as we get this set up, make sure you message one of the mods. And we'll do our best to try to address that. But we are starting to fill out the Discord channel and make sure that that's available for folks as well. I haven't messed with AS400 or mainframe in a long time. I think the last time that I messed with AS400 and mainframe was when I was working at the financial services company about 6 or 7 years ago. I did go to a talk back then, back when it was kind of cutting edge, that was talking about doing red team activities and pen testing activities against mainframes and things like that. And we joked about it when it first came out, because it was like, what kind of red teaming activities are you actually going to do against a mainframe when its max password length was 8 characters and it had to be all uppercase. Like that was the password complexity of most of the mainframes that we were dealing with at this particular bank. Yeah, 4 clients still have it. The devs are dying faster than the systems. I believe that. I wholeheartedly believe that. I remember the first time I saw a mainframe was 1996, when I was doing an internship at an engineering company, and it literally took up the entirety of the server room that we had to run that mainframe, and all of the finance folks and everybody else, access the purchasing folks and the inventory folks all accessed it with Wise terminals, and to me, I thought that was like, it's like, wow, this is such antiquated technology even then. I don't know why I chose to do one in Nightbot and one in Streamlabs. Obviously, you can tell that I've been playing with bots today on the chat channel as well. I'll have to tune those bots down just a little bit. The next CTF. Let's see here. Oh, that's right, Hacktober. Hacktober's gonna be next weekend. We did register for Hacker Halted. I typically am very anti EC Council stuff, just because I think EC Council sucks. But hoping that they end up doing a CTF here for Hacker Halted. Yeah, see, they've got Hacker Jeopardy that they're going to do here. Yeah, CTF will begin. There we go, October 19th to the 20th. Yeah, so we're hoping to be able to do this one, but so we did register for Hacker Halted. But we are also keeping an eye on CTF time. That seems to be the ones that we watch the most. Hacktober is next on the list there. I did lose my primary hacking buddy. Joe has to take a small leave of absence. So if anybody's interested in joining the cyber insecurity hack team, we do have 2 open spots on that. We may do some type of a giveaway or something like that to see who wants to be on the cyber insecurity team. Did not know about the Splunk one. Are they doing just a boss of the SOC on the 19th? Is that one that's coming up? It's 2019, 2020. I don't see a boss of the sock. Oh, for .conf. Yeah. Forgot about. I actually forgot about .conf. I did. I totally forgot all about .conf. I need to my Splunk rep did send me a registration link for .conf, and I totally forgot about registering for .conf. I will make an announcement. Thank you for reminding me about that one, Sec IT guy. If you have not been to .conf, or if you have an interest in Splunk, .conf is an amazing thing to go to. Lots of good stuff and it's going to be free this year, obviously because of COVID. Sec IT guy gets a promotion to VIP for the reminder on that one. Yeah, there we go. Promoted you to VIP for that one, Sec IT guy. For the reminder on .conf, but .conf's amazing. Definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth going to. It's it is actually a lot of good, interesting things come out about it. Years ago, right after they purchased Phantom, they demonstrated doing red team ops with Phantom, which you've heard us talk about on the stream here a couple times, right? Looking at some of the open source SOAR tools that maybe we can use to simulate that. So I mean, it's not just Splunk promotional stuff. This is one of the good things about Comp, right? Is Comp is very much it's put on by the community, right? So it's not a giant Splunk, marketing advertising fest. It ends up being very much kind of community for the community, by the community, learn all about Splunk and things like that. And then yes, you can do boss of the SOC. And actually I will put it on the list to create a boss of the SOC team. If anybody wants to collab for boss of the SOC, we could definitely put together a team for boss of the SOC and things like that. But boss of the SOC is if you are ever interested in what it would be like to have Splunk inside of your security operations center and use it to do incident response or threat hunting or things like that, boss of the SOC is amazing for things like that. So good call out, Sec IT guy, on that one. Best of luck to you. I'm pretty proud of my team from from a company that I previously worked at. It was their first thank you for the hydrate there. It was their first entry into boss of the SOC, and they placed second amongst everybody that was there for boss of the SOC. This was not the one at .conf. This was the big one that they had every year outside of .conf. So it was the first time they'd ever been to .conf, and they placed second, right behind the NSA team that had went. So shout out to my guys if they're watching from that year of .conf. I managed to steal a boss of the SOC. Actually, I'll grab this guy real quick, show you guys this one. My prized possession right there is stealing the poster board from North American Boss of the SOC Day for my team there. Like I said, if anybody from that team's watching, I'm still proud of you guys for doing so awesome on that one. So as always, if we do Boss of the SOC, we'll stream it and make sure everybody gets the benefit of seeing what that's like. We don't do too much for trying to collect points and things like that here on the stream. More just kind of having it for fun. But like I said, I do have a couple openings on the cyber insecurity CTF team if anybody's interested in hanging out with us. If you've never been with us while we've done a capture the flag, it's really a community type event. I think if you go, actually I don't think you can. I think thanks to Twitch they deleted them. But I'm starting to put together kind of the snippets from the DEF CON capture the flag. But the DEF CON capture the flag, it was amazing. I couldn't believe the community, participation that we had during the DEF CON capture the flags, where we were solving the puzzles, live, and then we wouldn't give any of the answers away online, but we'd do our best to, help people understand what it took to solve those puzzles. So, if we do anything like that for Hacker Halted or .conf, now that .conf's there, we'll definitely do the same thing so everybody can participate in that. But yeah, virtual conferences, this is definitely the best year if you want to do virtual conferences. As a matter of fact, if you don't take advantage of COVID to do as many virtual conferences as possible, then you're missing out on kind of like rule number one. People who ask me like the number one question, which is like, how do I get into cybersecurity, right? It's like go out there and take advantage of all the free stuff that's out there. Like this is a perfect example of taking advantage of the free stuff that's out there. All of these conferences that are doing capture the flags and doing, talks and things like that are free. I cannot even begin to stress how important it is. Like, if it is free this year because of COVID, God, you should be out there taking advantage of it. Swagfest. I tell you what, we'll turn it into a virtual Swagfest if we do. DEF CON was pretty good. We gave away almost $2,500 worth of hacker gear during DEF CON. If we get that type of if we get those types of turnouts again for DEF CON, you can guarantee that we'll give some stuff away. Like we definitely have no shortage of stuff that we can give away to people, and we love to see people's excitement when we give stuff away. So definitely count on some swag coming out of the cyber insecurity stream for DEF CON. Trying to create these channels here for Discord. So here was always my reticence with starting up a Discord server, right, for cyber insecurity, right, is I feel like there are so many Discord servers out there already, and I didn't want to become like yet another Discord server. So I'm trying to create some stuff that you guys can benefit from that doesn't necessarily repeat everything that's on every other Discord server. I'm gonna link to I've got, if you don't know, like the VetCon Discord server or NetSec students and things like that, there's all sorts of really, really, really good streams or really, really good servers that are out there that I want to make sure you guys have access to. So I'm trying to correlate that entire list on here as well. Going to create some mentorship rooms. I've had a lot of folks ask me for some mentorship time and things like that, so we'll use the Discord room for a lot of the mentorship chats and everything else like that. Nate, I meant to actually answer your question that you sent me in Twitter over DM the other night. I didn't forget about it. I actually just kind of got sidetracked with something else, but you'd asked me in Twitter about we were kind of talking about EDR, and we were kind of following up with like the conversation that we had with Rick the other night, and talking about putting EDR in your home lab. I don't think it's actually very hard to set up a lab. Definitely need a meme room. Done. That's why you get the VIP icon is because you come up with ideas like needing the meme room. Nate, I don't think it's that hard to do an EDR lab, right? I mean, if you're already setting up a lab, that has like a domain controller and an endpoint on it, as well as an attacker machine. I think with Velociraptor, Morlock and some of those others, I think you could still do EDR inside of a home lab environment. Actually, I do plan on actually setting that up, on stream. One of these streams is something very similar to that. Let's see here. Let's create us a meme room. Well, but for Atomic Red Team, you just need. Actually, I think I showed a couple weeks ago using the Atomic. You were there when I showed the Atomic Red Team stuff inside of Splunk. I don't think you need EDR for that. You know what, Nate? If you we can have a chat if you want to, Nate. I'm a certified Carbon Black IR partner in MSP. We might be able to set you up a test environment with Carbon Black if you want to. And Nate, if you'd love to see Carbon Black, hit me up on Twitter. Sometime this week. I can show you. in So my company's a registered. Like I said, it's a IR partner for Carbon Black as well as an MSSP. So I can show you some Carbon Black stuff if you want to. All right, there is now a memes only chat on Discord. Let's see how long this takes to blow up in my face, creating a meme only chat in Discord. No links, image files only. So no links to memes. So it's funny you mentioned the CrowdStrike and the Splunk integration. That was nice when they created CrowdStrike years ago, but some of the current projects that I'm working on right now have proven how terrible that is from like a company integration and automation perspective. I could tell you that's like a it's not been nearly as awesome as I would have hoped it had been. It hasn't scaled very well over time. I couldn't imagine what their Splunk build looks like either. One of the things that I hate most about the way CrowdStrike works when it comes to getting their telemetry right, if you want to get full telemetry off of their EDR, not just alert logging into Splunk, you have to do their Falcon data replicator, which means that you absolutely have to, basically do every 5 days, you have to get a dump from their S3 bucket to get full telemetry. You can't get real-time telemetry from, from Falcon. So it sucks kind of, and yeah, it's really terrible. That's one of the reasons why I do advocate for SentinelOne. I say this even being an NIR partner in MSSP for Carbon Black, but SentinelOne, Carbon Black. I haven't checked Cylance's API, so I don't know about their telemetry, but I know SentinelOne and Carbon Black both do full telemetry via API. So you can get full telemetry into Splunk if you really, really wanted it. But that's gonna, back to your point about your Splunk bill, it's gonna drive your Splunk bill through the roof. Thank you for the stretch reminder. Remember, don't forget, we do have the Hacked Planet score. You as a community get to determine when our next giveaway is by contributing to that Hacked Planet score. Don't forget that. This is a chat and chill night for those who are tuning into the stream. We're really just kind of, chatting, chilling. We got the Pew Pew map going. We're working on a little bit of Discord development, trying to get the new Discord server up and running. Discord is active. You can do !Discord there at the request of the community, specifically Sec IT guy. It's the reason he's been promoted to VIP status. We do have now a meme room in there. I need to make sure that I also promote you on Discord. I thought that it would auto promote you. That might be something I have to look at. Sec IT guy. There we go. There you go. You have now been promoted to the status of VIP hackers in Discord. I know it seems to be grabbing all the subs inside of Discord. If you find yourself, so if you are a sub, you should start to see some of the subscriber only channels show up. You can pop in there and check and see if you are a sub, you can see if you can join some of those subscriber only channels. But we do have some stuff that we're actually gonna do a we've got a CTF collab room down in there and whatnot. So I do think I set it up so check the roles here. Yeah, if you are VIP or you are a subscriber or Twitch moderator, you can throw invites out to people. That way you can invite people over. I should add the Discord link to the channel socials. Thank you very much for that. I did absolutely forget about that. Totes forgot about that. Discord has been added to the socials. Any question is fair game, Fangsturk. What you got for me? There you go. See, look, Sec IT guy, man, he's rocking it out. I like that one. Let's do, let's add that one in here. Boom. Done. I do like that one. That's a good one. I'm also like you know, I'm cynical when it comes to Discord too, because like I'm on Discord channels where there's just like there's 900 channels, and you're just like, you know, which channel do you post something in? Oh, I love that one that you posted in Discord with the. I'm just a lowly dev looking at solutions for AppSec. Got any suggestions? When you talk AppSec, what are you looking for from an AppSec perspective? You want code scanning? Do you want, you know, frameworks for development, threat modeling? Penetration testing on apps. When we talk AppSec in itself can be really, really broad. Like, what are you contending with from an AppSec perspective? Like, you know, making sure things like, do you have a secure development lifecycle process? Are you integrating penetration testing into the appropriate, parts of your SDLC? Code scanning, threat detection, threat mitigation, ideally. Code scanning. Paid versions of code scanning, HP Fortify, Veracode, those are definitely enterprise options, pretty expensive. Community-wise, I don't know of any open source freeware code scanning. I don't know if anybody listening on the stream has any open source code scanning tools or suggestions. God, I can't think of anything open source. Yeah, see, OWASP always comes through and talks about, like, if you're not familiar with OWASP, you say you're a lowly dev. I think I think you might be being a little bit modest, but if you're looking for something from like a standards perspective, yeah, definitely check out OWASP. If you if you're doing, you can use something like a proxy like Zap or, Burp or something like that. That way you can kind of, see how your code is being sent back and forth between, the applications and whatnot. Looks like, so here we go. Yeah, here we go. We've got some, OWASP has got some code analysis tools here. Oh, AppScan. Speaking of IBM software that's died, there's AppScan right there. I say that AppScan used to be really good. But it's, I don't know if it's any good anymore or not. Now, so it looks like there's quite a lot here on the OWASP site. I'd say head on over to OWASP and probably get a good amount on the list of code scanning tools here. Threat detection. Biggest thing when it comes to threat detection for code. I really think you're, at least when I think about threat detection from a secure coding perspective, what I think about is making sure that your code is behind a piece of infrastructure like a web application firewall. And you can actually do that on the cheap as well. You can use, oh my gosh, the name is escaping me right now. Mod security, there it is. God, so I have set up mod security before. If you're looking, so this is something real easy that you could do. Fangstark. Thank you, Sec IT guy. You can, put you up a server up in like DigitalOcean or AWS or something like that, and then stick you a real easy reverse proxy using Nginx up there in front of it, and then put mod security on there. And then you can use mod security as an open source web application firewall source. This is actually really, really good. I mean, it's not, it's not enterprise grade, but if you're just looking for like a random, WAF that you can put some WAF rules up into or something like that, mod security is excellent for that. The good thing also about mod security is that it does log stuff to var log on the server, and so then you could take the stuff from var log, pull it into Splunk or something else like that, and create an alert based around it. So definitely, from a threat detection perspective, it's almost building that WAF infrastructure and setting something up behind the WAF infrastructure to be able to do. Would highly recommend that. Threat mitigation goes back to again, mitigating it on the front end through some type of WAF, so you can kind of do detection and mitigation using mod security. It at least will teach you kind of the principles behind AppSec in terms of like, looking for cross-site scripting or SQL injection or something like that, from the attacker's perspective. If you're doing, web application stuff and you're looking for web application attack tools, W3F, I think is still a good one. Yeah, there is W3AF. This is a good automated attack engine that you can throw at code, or throw at web applications, not code, but at web applications. Again, when you say dev, it's kind of broad. I'm assuming, potentially, you're talking about web app development. If you're talking about, fuzzing against binaries and things like that, sky's the limit when it really comes to finding a good fuzzer. I think almost everybody writes almost their own fuzzer when it comes to things like that. So lots of choices there. Happy to pivot and go wherever you have, but As you can see, lots of different potential forks for you to kind of go into when it comes into the AppSec business. If you're looking for frameworks, Carmen Mod, you may know this because I think you deal with this a little bit more than I do. But does NIST have a code development standard? Yep, there we go. NIST does. Maybe. Yeah, OWASP would probably have more resources. That's probably pretty fair. There, you heard it from the leader herself, Carmen Mod, with the OWASP on the code development stuff. I oftentimes try to point people towards NIST at least to see if there's a framework suggestion there, because if there is a big framework like NIST, you should almost always kind of go with NIST. But yeah, OWASP is probably your best bet when it comes to those standards. Have I worked with Elastic Security before? I have. I helped a company build a entire, Splunk equivalent off of an Elk stack before. It was disastrously intensive, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody if they didn't absolutely have to. I've run a couple of the exploits that are out there for Elastic during some red team engagements and things like that. Yeah, intensive in the sense of we had 3 developers full-time working on it, and the amount of customization, depending on how, and again, remember, we were an MSP, we were servicing several hundred clients from an MSP perspective, trying to pull all their log data in from infrastructure components, and so basically just syslog forwarders and things like that. Back then, and this was 2015, so about 5 years ago with Elk, there weren't a whole lot of parsers in place, and so we just spent a lot of time building a lot of custom parsers for Elk, and that was kind of difficult. Even though we were using like checkpoints and Palo Altos and Cisco and things like that, we still had to build a ton of custom parsers. We had Kibana on the front end. We still had a lot of UI issues, when it came to Kibana and things like that. So, I think it's at the time it just required a lot of development efforts because it was still relatively new in the space, and it was still kind of a lot of that open source mentality where it was like, hey, here's the code. We're not going to really support much of it, outside of the paid commercial licenses. And on top of that, if you want anything special done with it, then you're going to have to do your own, customization on top of it. That's good. I mean, if they've changed it and it's relatively painless now, then that's good to hear. I know that they've still packaged it with Security Onion, and I need to do a new Security Onion install to kind of see some of the new, new ways that they've made that, like you said, a little bit more seamless. I really want to do more Docker installations with a lot of this stuff. So I tried to run Kali on my Mac on Docker. I was actually pretty surprised with how nice that was. And so I'm actually I'm getting super into doing the Kubernetes types of deployments as well as the Docker types of deployments and things like that. Yeah, I know Security Onion. Like that's like a staple. Hey, if you're looking to get into like sock in a box, on your own home stuff, man, Security Onion is a fantastic tool fantastic set of distros to play around with. Lots of good things. Lots of good things you can do with Security Onion. They did just release. Yeah, there it is. Speaking of, we were talking about Splunk a little while ago. I've actually been looking at this, thinking about trying this out, seeing if this was any good, which is the Splunk operator for Kubernetes. If anybody's like, it's not not meant to be like, I'm by no means a Kubernetes expert, and I have no interest in being a Kubernetes expert at all. But one of the biggest things when we were talking about Splunk, right, and Sec IT guy, I know you've got a pretty substantial Splunk deployment. You'll probably appreciate this, right? Is but you've got to constantly rebalance out your indexers and your search heads based on the amount of data and the logs and things like that you're bringing into your environment. And we had a call with Doug Merritt, who's the CEO of Splunk, I think 2 weeks ago, that I was talking to Doug, who's the CEO of Splunk. And it was amazing that they reminded us that at .conf last year, they released this Splunk operator for Kubernetes, which basically allows you to do Splunk installs inside of Kubernetes, and it will grow and shrink your Splunk instance based on kind of the workload demand that you've got going on there inside of a Kubernetes environment. So been wanting to give this a try out. I'll drop this in chat if anybody's interested in trying that one out. I feel like I'm new here, but I feel like I'm going to learn something. That's awesome. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the Cyber and Security family. Make sure you hit that ! Discord to get into our Discord channel. There's always something to learn here. This is a chill stream tonight, Outlaw. We're kind of doing more of like an AMA, just kind of a chat and chill tonight. Typically. We'll do some news, have some special guests on and things like that. But it's a very chill stream tonight. But definitely ask any questions you've got. If you're new to the space or if you've been doing this for a while, please don't hesitate. You can hit !LinkedIn, shoot me an invite on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter with !Twitter. Like I said, we're doing a chat and chill tonight. So. Welcome to the stream. Enjoy the music, enjoy the company, enjoy a nice chill Saturday night. How do you feel about the state of Node.js security? Ooh. I actually don't. I actually probably am one of the few people that may have just like a neutral opinion on that. I don't think that I have too strong of an opinion one way or the other on Node.js. It's not too broad at all. It's more just I don't think I've developed an opinion enough on Node.js yet. What's your opinion on Node.js security? What are some of the things you're concerned about? For you to bring it up, you must be concerned about some items. I mean, while you're typing that out, I don't know if you're typing anything out or not, but I think just generally speaking, all of my security concerns around any application development comes with just input validation. I think that has always been and always will be the number one issue with any coding platform, or I mean coding language, whether it's for an app or whether it's for a web app or anything like that, is just doing appropriate input validation. So that's more procedural than it is specifically inherent to Node.js, but I can't stress that enough. I think if you look at, I think you're always going to have new coding techniques that come out, right? Whether it's Node.js this week or something else next week. This is why Carmen Mod linked in there how OWASP was actually probably the most comprehensive, is because like if you follow the OWASP top 10, so if we go back over here to OWASP top 10. All right, so OWASP top 10 will always and forever be, right, the whoops, didn't mean to click on sponsors. Okay, good, it didn't go there. Main, here we go. Right, if you always go back to the OWASP top 10, like this is the problem with every piece of code that's out there, right? It doesn't matter the language, it doesn't matter everything. Like this is your FBI's top 10 most wanted list that you should be looking to protect against out of every application or anything else that's out there. Crypto implementations can be a little odd. I'll trust you on that one. It sounds like you may have more experience than me in crypto implementations. But I do believe when you look across here, we talk about broken authentication, which could be a crypto issue. Sensitive data exposure, which could be a crypto issue. Yeah, like again, get back to going back to OWASP top 10. You can find almost any of the things that you talk about from an app security perspective, all in these OWASP top 10 security risk. No, you're good, Edward. You're good, Edward. We're doing a chat and chill tonight. You didn't really miss anything. We haven't. We've just been sitting here chatting. We'll probably run the stream actually for a little while tonight, doing a chat and chill a little bit longer than usual. So it's good to see you as always. Hey, Edward, know you were looking for it. Hit that exclamation point Discord. We did get our Discord server up and running. So hop on over there and drop some memes off. For those who are popping into the Discord, if you find that your role in Discord doesn't match the role that you are on Twitch, let me or a mod know. If you're a sub on Twitch, you should be a sub on Discord, which does give you some sub only perks on Discord as well, including subs are going to be the only ones that have any voice permissions inside of Discord, and we are going to allow streaming in Discord, but only for tier 3 subs and things like that. Hacking Fortnite and deleting it. Somebody does not like some Fortnite. We should do a cyber insecurity Among Us stream. Like that sounds like it would be a disaster waiting to happen. If we're gonna talk about doing anything gaming wise. Like I've been watching some Twitch streams and some YouTube videos of some Among Us. That sounds like something that could be horribly disastrous to get into. Vuln testing Among Us, vuln testing each other. We could practice our social engineering via Among Us. Yeah, see, look at that. Classified. You and I are on the same page on that one. It depends. He vented with a malformed packet. I saw an incomplete packet over here in electrical. We're gonna meet because of an incomplete packet. Is the imposter a white hat or a black hat? I think if we're gonna go down that route, Fang Stark, we're gonna have to do rules of engagement. So we're gonna have to like write an SOW and a rules of engagement letter for whoever the imposter is, and can't go outside of scope if you're the imposter. A cybersecurity version of the game. Is can you God, Among Us open source code? Is anybody? I feel like somebody else should have. Yeah, see, here we go. It's called Imposter open source code. Here you go. I can't vouch for this. I have no idea if this is any good or not, but I'll throw it up here. But there is some code here on GitHub called Imposter. Imposter is one of the first Among Us private servers written in C#. So we've got some code here. Could potentially modify this code with some cybersecurity related techniques in it. New project. Oh, you got some brain picking going on. There's an idea floating around our SOC of setting up a fake business and honeypot server infrastructure for gathering IOCs. Is it worth the time and effort? If so, any tips? So I have opinions more than I have tips, right? So I mean, I could give you some tips, but I got some opinions on that first. It's not a Twitch stream unless you're playing Among Us. So honeypots aren't really worth doing unless you're going to set them up globally and you're going to manage them, right? They require a lot of management. The low interaction honeypots, right, are only going to get you, probably the same types of IOCs that you would get from, your threat intel feed. So I don't know what type of threat intel feeds you have. Not sure if you're running, let's say you're running something easy like, Recorded Future, Alien Vault, OTX Alien Vault, Threat Connect, something like that, right? If you're running anything like that, doing a low interaction honeypot for the purpose of gathering IOCs and putting them into your SIM is not worth it, especially not setting up a fake business to do it. Now, internally, and I have seen this, and I do think this is worthwhile. If you're working for a company that does manufacturing, and you were to set up a honeypot, let's say for the sake of argument, we know how rare this potentially could be, right? You've got a manufacturing environment that is isolated from the rest of your corporate network. If you were to put a honeypot inside of that manufacturing network to look for threats inside of that manufacturing network, from a honeypot perspective, or to look for actors inside of that network, I could see you doing that. I think that's very worthwhile to do. I think when you think about honeypots, DNS sinkholing, any type of deception stuff, you should look at networks whereby normal detection capabilities might be easily beaten up, right? So inside of manufacturing devices, if you're going based on the Purdue model where you've got level 1, level 2, level 3, things like that, on your level 1, you're probably not going to have any cyber threats. Your level 2, you potentially could have some cyber threats, but you may not necessarily have any type of typical tools like CrowdStrike or Sentinel-1 or Carbon Black or anything like that. And level 3, you've probably got your normal IT stack anyway. So having honeypots inside of that type of area, would be incredibly beneficial, especially where you may potentially be lacking cybersecurity tools on some of those other layers. I think if you're doing a honeypot inside of a company, you need to think about what your goal of that honeypot is, right? If you're doing a honeypot to look for lateral movement over 445, you probably are going to have too much noise for that. If you're looking for, remnants of WannaCry or MS 1710 or something like that, I wouldn't necessarily do a honeypot as much as I would do a DNS sinkhole, right, or something like that. I think it really just depends on what your objectives are of the honeypot. But putting honeypots out on the internet and hoping to use those to gather IOCs, I think is a waste of time and money for most organizations. Well, we're an MSP, so the idea was to offer as a service setting up a honeypot of something in the same market sector as the client, so we could gather IOCs that are targeted at that market sector. I don't think a honeypot's your answer to that. I think if you were looking to identify threats in a market sector as an MSP, I would instead look at building a threat intelligence function that focuses. So I would go back to standing up a threat intelligence entity inside of your MSP. Your priority intelligence requirements, right, would be I want intelligence in FinSec, intelligence in healthcare, intelligence in retail, whatever your sector is, right? And then I would go out there and I would correlate that intelligence separately. IOCs, if you're an MSP, you should absolutely be getting your IOCs from a third-party, advanced threat intelligence vendor like Recorded Future or Anomaly or Threat Connect or somewhere like that. You're going to get way more value per dollar on, those types of things. So I know most threat intelligence companies are now going towards a dollar per seat model. The dollar per seat model is actually more beneficial to MSPs because then you can have like one threat intelligence analyst and you could consume 1 billion IOCs into your centralized SIEM as an MSP, and then you can distribute those IOCs out to all of your clients as an MSP. But that only handles your level 1 or your tactical level intelligence. Remember, if you go back to some of the intelligence conversations we had before, you should have 3 layers of intelligence. You should have tactical level intelligence, operational level intelligence, and strategic level intelligence. Your tactical level intelligence, you should be getting that from automated feeds, right? That stuff is pennies on the dollar now, and you should be getting that stuff from automated feeds. Operational intelligence and strategic intelligence, that's stuff where you can start talking about breaking things down into sector, but you won't get that from most of the intelligence vendors that are out there, which is why you want to have an intel team internally to kind of produce that intelligence yourself. If you're going to do honeypots, doing honeypots for an MSP probably still isn't worth it. But let's say that you wanted to do a honeypot for zero login, right? I think that's worthwhile to do, but that's also a high interaction honeypot to do something like that. And so you would still have your threat intel team setting up a high interaction honeypot for something like zero login. But what you're doing is you're using it to harvest new IOCs for something that's emergent that's out there versus waiting for them to hit some of your main vendors as well. So it's kind of more of a, still look at where you want to put your efforts in. I think that's honestly where I see the better set of efforts kind of putting in there, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts on utilizing fake and disposable profiles for interacting with malware during dynamic analysis? What about protecting your identity as a blue team member or threat hunter using non-attributable devices or accounts? Absolutely, 100%. I think all the things you said there, I'm a huge advocate for. You should have burner accounts that you do any type of threat research on. If possible, if you've got the money to spend on it and your organization lets you do it, you should have a completely different leased line come into your SOC or into your, now that everybody's working from home, it might be less of an issue, right? Because you can run through Tor and VPN, on a separate laptop altogether. if you're still going in the office or you're working in a big SOC, you want to try to get a leased line in there, and you want to have basically a completely different set of infrastructure, laptops, computers, servers, routers, network switches, things like that, that sends all of your traffic out to completely different IP addresses to do all of your research on. Persona development, right, is kind of what you're talking about there. And if you were to build a threat intelligence team, like a full-blown threat intelligence capability, this is really what you're talking about with persona development. My caution, and here's I've been down this road when it comes to persona development, so I want to share with you some of the hurdles that I've had to go over and some of the recommendations that I have when it comes to persona development. You are engaging in activity with a persona. You may get yourself infected, you may not. You may be going to forums, you may not. Depends on what you're trying to do, right? That persona is going to be engaged in activity that may or may not necessarily be directly condoned by the company. I'll give you an example. I once had an Intel analyst work for me who, on his own, decided that he was going to sit in on a Facebook group that was directly soliciting intellectual property from folks who worked in our company with the goal of trying to build a competing product using our intellectual property. Fantastic that this individual got into this group. Fantastic that we were able to get this intelligence out of this Facebook group, and we were absolutely grateful to have it. Wow, awesome! We just hit 25%. That's awesome. We've done a fantastic job on that. But anyway, one of the problems that we uncovered, right, is that with things like ProPublica, who's like a community watchdog who's all the time looking for like user groups to infiltrate and then to leak all the names of everybody who's in those user groups and things like that. At some point in time, that persona is going to get leaked. And or even from an Intel source perspective, you do need to understand like where your Intel sources are coming from so that you can determine whether an Intel source is credible or not. You need to have plausible deniability that you weren't participating in any of that illicit activity. And so this is where having good processes around that activity really comes into play. How many people know the username and password, right? Is it a shared account? Do you have procedures, almost like a chain of custody, of when you log into that account and what activity you do on that account? Procedures that if you logged into this account and you sent this message at this day and this time, is that logged, almost like a master station log perspective? And it may sound very, very overkill, but remember, in any type of discoverability phase of a legal action that may come against you or your company, that type of documentation is what makes or breaks a case with you or against you. And so you want to have all the facts on your side. I logged in at this day, at this time. I logged into this Facebook account. I read these messages. I indicated there was an opportunity for me to further the objective of my persona by interacting with message A, B, and C. Here's what I said, and here was my intent with that. Boom, logged off that account and was done with that persona management for the day. There's definitely, you can definitely not do all of that stuff, and you may never have a lawsuit. You may never do any of that other stuff, and you may be perfectly fine, but it's going to be that one time that they do discoverability on your company and you don't have that level of documentation, that could end up burning you. So I'm absolutely an advocate of persona development, especially when it comes to threat intelligence and malware analysis and things like that. I'm also a fan of doing it responsibly. We did hit 25%, so we're a quarter away towards our random giveaway goal. Thanks to everybody who contributed recently to the Hacked Planet score. Looks like we had a lot of people drop in a lot of massive points for the Hacked Planet score. Good job, everybody. I think with that, I'm gonna grab some more water as I'm almost out, and you guys are doing a good job of keeping me hydrated. I'm gonna put us on a short break and just run a handful of commercials before Twitch interrupts my stream and makes everybody run commercials. Unless you're a subscriber. If you're a subscriber, you're immune from commercials. Another incentive to subscribe there. But we'll be right back. We'll talk shop a little bit more here in a bit. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Take a quick minute to and a lot of people show up since we did the intro. I just want to kind of take a quick minute to welcome all the new folks who have joined the stream here recently. As a reminder, we are streaming every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. We usually stream from 7 to 9 p.m. I realize we're coming up on the top of the hour now. We'll probably keep streaming for a little while tonight. We're kind of treating tonight as a chat and chill AMA development night. So as long as we got people in chat, as long as we're still working on some things, we'll we'll keep asking questions. But typically every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from 7 to 9. Also, typically we have tons of guests that come onto the show. Last week we were blessed to have I don't mean that in that sense. I just mean like I'm very fortunate to have Mr. Rick McElroy from VMware Carbon Black on the stream. I do have to say, I do absolutely have to say, I challenged chat to something that I didn't think chat would take seriously. I did challenge chat to see if we could get Rick drunk enough during the stream. I meant that mostly as a joke because I didn't think chat would take me seriously. But if you notice, if you want to go back and watch Wednesday's stream, I think it was about the hour and 15 minute mark for the stream. You could see that I asked Rick a question and his answer started to slow down pretty significantly. And I had a couple DMs come back and forth that was kind of like, uh-oh, we may have gone just a little too far with the hydrates for Rick. And so good job, chat. Good job, chat, on that one. But either way, Rick still did really good. I've known Rick for a number of years. Rick and I have sat on panels for VMware, for Carbon Black. And Rick is truly brilliant. Hopefully you guys got as much out of having him there as I always do from chatting with him. We'll obviously be having Rick back on because he's a wealth of knowledge and he's awesome. I do have to say, it is always awesome to have just like one of the things that I think, and here's just for everybody on the stream who's listening. Actually, I'll say this here. I'll say this differently, but then I'll get back into that. Back to kind of some of the things about the stream. We are here for you, the community. You saw lots of questions that are coming up in chat. This is a safe space to ask questions. You can see that we talk about anything and everything, cybersecurity related, red team, blue team, risk and governance, app dev, AppSec, cloud security, you name it. If I don't know, then we've got somebody in chat, or one of our moderators knows. We are here for that kind of live, person-to-person interaction to create that community. We did drop our Discord today. Hit that exclamation Discord if you want to be part of our Discord. It's still in development, but I did want to kind of get it up and running. We're not going to be like the end all be all for the Discord, but we'll be a place where we'll share a lot of the stuff, especially stuff that's stream related, news and information, and tips and tricks and things like that. Subscribers do get extra benefits on the Discord. We are going to lock down voice on Discord so that the only folks who can do voice on Discord will be subscribers. We are going to open up streaming on Discord, but the only people who are going to stream are going to be our tier 3 subscribers on Discord, and things like that. So with that being said, don't forget about the Hack Planet score down at the bottom. We do tons of giveaways. If you've been on this stream if you're new to this stream isn't just about you guys coming here and listening to me pontificate on all things cybersecurity related, which I'm pretty good at. I do give stuff away because everybody loves to get free stuff. Let me kind of run through really quick, because this is something I'm actually super proud of. All the things that, not all the things, but just the types of things that we have given away in the past on the stream. I think the biggest giveaway that we've given to date was we gave away, I don't know if Pawn Muncher is listening or not, or if Pawn Muncher's in stream. Pawn Muncher's usually a regular on the stream as well, but Pawn Muncher won a $20,000 scholarship to the Identity Fusion Identity and Access Management Practitioner Program several weeks ago. We had an individual on the stream from Identity Fusion who had created a custom practitioner program specifically around teaching the concepts and everything behind identity and access management, and so he had given that away, and it was a $20,000 scholarship. It was pretty amazing. We've given away about $2,500 worth of just hacker gear in general, things like Wi-Fi pineapples from Hack 5, land turtles, gear, things like that. We've given away free courses to eLearn Security, as well as discount codes. I&E Training that has acquired eLearn Security, is a premium sponsor of ours, and so we do regularly give away access to their training, programs. We've also given away, free beta access to one of their new training platforms. You can still hit !beta and get your name on the wait list for beta. So the point is, we do give a lot of stuff away. We do still have a ton of stuff to give away. Instead of doing them kind of randomly, we have asked the community to determine when we do a giveaway. And so that's what the Hacked Planet score down is at the bottom. Is by contributing to the Hacked Planet score at the bottom of your chat window, you'll see a little green and black icon that says Hacked Planets. You'll see a little number next to it. That's how many points you have. If you hit that, you'll see some things that you can redeem those points for, to kind of contribute to the Hacked Planet score. We are, as of today, 25% towards our goal for the next giveaway. We've got 13 days left. Obviously subscribers get 2x and 3x points towards that, and as well as bits and things like that. So, anything that the community does that you all do as participation for the stream does determine when we get our next giveaway. So with that being said, we'll hop back over to our lovely Pew Pew map in the background. Came in a little late to that stream. What's Rick's background? Here, I'll link you Rick's LinkedIn page. His previous CISO, he's done CISO work. I think his most notable thing, and the thing that he's been doing for the last 5-ish or so years, he's been kind of the chief cybersecurity strategist for VMware Carbon Black before VMware bought them. Pre-COVID, his role was really going around. Yeah, he was a U.S. Marine. Pre-COVID, he talked to CISOs on a regular basis. He spoke at conferences on a regular basis. He was always in front of people talking about pretty much anything and everything cybersecurity related. Obviously, in most cases, it did have a Carbon Black and a VMware spin on it at some point in time. But it's that aside, and that really shouldn't drive kind of your impression of somebody. If anything, it means that he talks to a ton of people all of the time. Where he gets a great amount of perspective as to what their problems are, what are they dealing with, what are some of the challenges that they have, how are they solving some of those challenges in the space and whatnot. And I think that that's really the value of having folks like Rick on the stream is being able to ask them, what it is that they're seeing and hearing in conversations with folks out there, on a regular basis. I think that gets back to really what the long and the short of the stream is all about, which is real conversations with real people, and I think that that's just kind of share this with everybody. This is completely unsolicited. I don't solicit this feedback from anybody, but it does kind of get to me right in the feels, when it does happen. But right after the show, Rick posted this on Twitter, and really the best part about it, right, is being one of the best produced sessions that he's ever been on. But right here, real conversations with real people. That's all of you. That's all of you out there, right? That's the value of the stream, right? Is I'm going to continue to look for people like Rick that I can bring on this show, guys like Rob Lee, from Dragos, who are going to come on this show, to be able to sit in this seat with you all, the viewers, so that you guys get to have real conversations with real cybersecurity folks and real people, and they get to have those real conversations with you. Again, this is unsolicited feedback from Rick. He did this completely and totally on his own. Like I said, it really got to me in the feels, but this is why I do it, right? Is getting this for everybody that's out there. So thank you for making this stream possible, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you all for this. What's the map depicting? CalcMath, welcome to the Cyber Insecurity stream. Glad to have you here. This is oftentimes referred to as a Pew Pew map. Pew Pew map, that's really kind of the funny name for it. Nice, somebody got an Earth Day emote. Pew Pew maps have got an interesting history in our business. They're oftentimes very much reserved for like the big security operations centers where you have a monitor and you put a Pew Pew map on there, because when the executive comes by that doesn't know anything about cybersecurity, you get to put that in front of them, and it looks really, really, really awesome when they do it. In this case, one of the development things that we're working on is trying to put something up that can kind of run on the stream when we're offline. Typically when the stream is offline, you'll get like just a graphic that says offline on it, which is really not very exciting at all. And so one of the things that we're thinking about doing and trying to work on development is to create some type of offline Pew Pew map like this, so that you as the community, if you wanted to have something up on your SOC wall inside of your organization, or if you wanted to have something up on your desk that kind of had some nice music playing in the background. All right, something like that. You wanted to listen to a little bit of something like that while you watched the cyber attacks that are going on out all across the world, then you could have that. In this particular case, when you look at this one, and actually let me bring it over here so that I'm not turning my head to everybody. In this case, you can see we've got 3 indicators: red, purple, and yellow down at the bottom. The red is malware, the purple is phishing, and the yellow is an exploit. And so streaming on the left-hand side, you can see source and destination. So it looks like now some of it's sourcing from the U.S. and going overseas. Looks like most of that's malware. You can see countries on the right-hand side, different types of sectors that are being attacked and things like that, as well as some of the trends in the upper left-hand corner. And so really it's just if you wanted to look at it, it's kind of a way to visualize, just the frontline soldier perspective, that you should feel as part of, being on a cybersecurity, organization or team and whatnot. Just to finish out the map down at the bottom, in this case, we're looking at the local infections. In this case, we're looking at Russia as the country. This one, I'm actively working on trying to fix this one down at the bottom, because I did have it show vulnerability data. That's honestly what I wanted it to show more than infection data, but it's not working very well. Hence the reason, to do some development on it. But this one's showing you a spike in infections, and it's showing you the malware on the right-hand side. And then we've got a threat intel Twitter kind of stream that we're running on the right-hand side with some of the folks that we follow from a threat intel perspective, as well as a couple threat intel hashtags and whatnot. So just a way to kind of visualize the up to the minute stuff that's happening inside of our cybersecurity space on a regular basis. So CalcMath, hopefully that answers that for you. How do we know all this information? Oh my gosh. That's a hard question. I think, if you're talking about like how do we know it just by basically looking at the Pew Pew map, I think that's excellent feedback, and I think that that's something I could probably incorporate if you're talking about like how do we know when we look at the Pew Pew map that that's what it is we're looking for. I think if you're talking about how do we learn more about like what are some of the the attacks that are going on, or some of the things that are going about it. I go back to something that I've said a long time ago when it comes to learning things inside of this career field. I think you have to find out what interests you and find out what excites you in this career field, and then I think you just have to turn right over to Google and just start Googling the things that are of interest and whatnot to you, and really kind of going from there. If you're interested in malware reverse engineering, then find a piece of malware that's showing up on the Pew Pew map, and then just start Googling that malware and whatnot, and learning everything you can to know about it. Lots of write-ups that exist out there, CalcMath, in terms of things like the malware and things, and attacks and things like that, that'll show you diagrams of who sent what to where, who did what malware are they using, what hashes are they using, things like that. I think that's all information that you just have to just throw it into Google and just start looking for. Or you can come to the Cyber Insecurity stream and ask us, and we'll do our best to answer it here too. Uplink has the best soundtrack for chill program. I'll have to look at that one. I don't think I know that one. I'll throw that one into YouTube real quick. Got it. Okay. Man, we'll throw that one on a little bit later and see how that one is. Let that one run. You have the Sphere program. I don't think I know what the Sphere program is. What are the data info feeds that are... Oh, okay. Sorry, I guess I overcomplicated that one. So the Pew Pew map in the center is checkpoints. We've had checkpoint on the stream before, and so that is checkpoints cyber map. The lower bar down at the bottom that has the trend line and the malware, that's coming from Kaspersky. So looking at it two different ways, back to kind of similarly, Ed, the question that you had over the honeypots. The one that you see here from Checkpoint is pulling in all of the data from basically all of their Checkpoint firewalls and their honeypot network all across the globe. And so this gives you probably the best visualization on network-bound traffic, which is why we chose it here. Down at the bottom is from Kaspersky, which is obviously giving you host-based information. So in this case, we're doing local infections that Kaspersky is detecting from its malware detection on-demand scans. And then this is Twitter on the right-hand side over there. So tried to give you well-rounded amount of what's happening on the network side, what's happening on the endpoint side, and then just some Twitter intelligence from there. Most people do social engineer these days to get that initial foothold, but the malware that they drop or how they get their persistent connections, that's honestly what else you have to pay attention to as well, right? The social engineering piece is just to get that initial foothold most cases. I did miss that. Thank you. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. If you had nothing in the way of a dedicated threat intelligence team, how would you go about setting one up from scratch, asking for a friend? Let me ask you this: do you have people to throw at it? Because I think having people to throw at it is kind of a key point with that. If you don't have anybody to throw at it, I would definitely, especially if you're an MSP, I would go out and source some dedicated threat intelligence from Threat Connect or Recorder Future or somebody like that. If you do have people to throw at it, I'd still recommend, sourcing some intelligence from somebody else. But at least I think you have a better chance of putting something more comprehensive together. SANS does have a CTI, Cyber Threat Intel. They got a training summit, reading room. Here it is. I think this is it. There is a Cyber Threat Intel framework. There it is. All right, I'll have to. This is one from DO or from the government, from DNI, that you can use. There's an entire framework out there, as well as publications and things like that you can use for cyber threat intelligence. I would start with trying to build sources of intelligence, and I would start again. I go back to the 3 layers, right? Tactical, operational, and strategic. And so I think tactical is very much what you're used to when it comes to like pulling in indicators of compromise. And so if we're talking about pulling in indicators of compromise, I would look towards Threat Connect. And so like when you look at these, right? So Threat Connect has their community edition right here. That you can sign up for. So this is their app.threatconnect.com. You can sign up for free for their community edition, and you can get access to the threat intelligence they have there. Risk IQ is something else that does have a community edition as well, Risk IQ Community. that you can log into to sign up for that. So you can do Risk IQ as well. All of these are fantastic ways for you to have access to a large swath of community-based threat intelligence that I think is incredibly invaluable and stuff that you don't need an army of people to do. Even on those, you can, if you're, let's say you get a detection or something like that in your SIM, you can throw that IOC into Risk IQ or into Threat Connect or OTX Alien Vault or any of those other community editions, and you can get actionable intelligence off of those indicators. The limitation will be if you start to like have to pull things into Splunk or whatnot. But I think starting with something like that is an easy way to get into threat intelligence and to start your threat intelligence team. We're new. Who are you following for Twitter intel? I see Bad Packets following them already. Let's see here. It's Bad Packets. It's oh my gosh, where is it? Looking for the list. Looking for the list. Bad Packets, Checkpoint. My gosh. These are all people. The people ones I have on there, but they're not very good. I'm looking for the ones that I know are the most valuable. Blue Team News. There's one that has BGP data on there, and that's the one I'm looking for the name of. I hate it doesn't put them in order. I'll curate the list. I'll put it on Discord. I'll curate the list of threat intelligence Twitter links that I follow, and I'll put that on Discord inside of one of the channels there, and I'll link to it. You mentioned great articles and online sources. Do you have any recommendations that serve as a starting point? Help me out, CalcMath. Are you looking for a red team, blue team? You looking for cybersecurity in general, risk and governance? What's kind of where your interest lies? And let me know, and I can probably point you in the right direction. People usually sell malware through to scripties or antivirus companies. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Aside from pretending to be Matthew Broderick, is there any real use for a Pew Pew showing unrelated data feeds and almost certainly inaccurate attribution? Absolutely not, Tendred. There's absolutely no other real use for Pew Pew maps. That's why, that's why they're not really used very often. They are strictly there for visual appeal, 100%. Like, not even going to pretend on that. What job do you do? I was an ex-black before all this pen test stuff existed, as much of it does now. Right now, I run a global security operations center. My past consists of, you can hit exclamation point LinkedIn and get my LinkedIn profile, but I spent 10 years in the United States Air Force doing offensive cyber, for the United States government. Before that, I had a sketchy career doing, cool stuff that, was kind of, just fun, right? I learned how to do industrial control system hacking back in the 2000s when I worked for Carolina Power and Light out of North Carolina and things like that. So, but right now, I run a global security operations team. I own all, incident response, pen testing, threat intelligence, things like that. I also run my own cybersecurity company. If anybody out there needs managed detection response, red teaming and pen testing services, things like that, I run my own cybersecurity company. I also do, just general career mentoring and things like that on the side as well. So 3 jobs, if that counts. We're a new team of 4 analysts, including me, 1 architect, 1 CISO as a service guy, and the boss. So in terms of throwing people at the honest answer is no, unless I prove it's a value of my own system. So if you don't have people to throw at it, really, I would highly recommend I would go the community edition route for some of those threat intelligence services. If you've got the money to spend on it, I would highly recommend you get at least one high fidelity threat intel feed. If I had to pick one, I would pick Threat Connect or Anomaly. Actually, I just met with the Anomaly guys last week, and I'm going to have another conversation with the Anomaly guys this week. Their new platform is looking really, really good. Again, this is not a paid advertisement for Anomaly. I've used Anomaly, I've used Threat Connect, I've used Recorded Future, I've used them all. But I would bring Anomaly into your MSP, and they've got a TIP or a threat intelligence platform that allows you as a foursome really to be able to, even if all of you dedicated 25% of your time, that's still 100% of a threat intelligence analyst. Maybe you can weave that into your day-to-day jobs. Just buy the threat intel rather than curating yourself automated. Yeah, 100%. Sec IT guy is right. That's why I keep going back to, if you want, if you saw AJ Nash on our stream a couple months ago from Anomaly, reach out to him. Tell him that you saw him on the cyber insecurity stream. He can put you in touch with somebody at Anomaly. I can put you in touch with my contact at Anomaly. I also know a lot of the folks over at Threat Connect and Recorded Future. So hit me up on Twitter or LinkedIn if you want contacts at any of those companies. You'll be better off. CalcMath says, cyber insecurity in general, my level is, I know the HTTP protocol, Linux, and programming. Awesome. Welcome to the cyber insecurity field. Welcome to the cyber security field. It sounds like you're getting into it. I would say if you're looking at programming and you're doing Linux, Bash scripting. So go out there and just start reading up and Bash scripting, and maybe start automating some of your some of the stuff that you would normally look to try to do inside of Bash. If you're looking at Linux, just keep playing around with a lot of the distros that are out there, and stand up your own distro. Learn how to do all the cool stuff that's inside of Linux, because there is a ton of that stuff to do. I think honestly, if you're that new to cybersecurity or you're looking for cybersecurity in general, you're in the right place here. We have a ton of folks that talk about everything from red team to blue team activities to risk and governance. And so my quintessential thing for people who are looking into getting into cybersecurity is to find something that's of interest to you, start pulling on the thread, and and kind of going from there. If you're looking for good online magazines, I'll throw this one out there. Ars Technica is really good. I do enjoy going to Ars Technica. They've got a lot of good stuff there. The Verge is also really good. That's also really good. I can't begin to stress enough the value of Twitter. I know a lot of people talk about how disastrous the InfoSec community is inside of Twitter. And it is pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of toxicity that does exist inside of Twitter, for sure. But you can avoid a lot of that if you are just really smart about avoiding toxicity in general on social media. And so if you go throw me a follow on Twitter, and then check out all the folks that I follow on Twitter and start with them, you can almost look at Twitter like an RSS feed when it comes to cybersecurity. And no joke. First thing I do when I wake up in the morning, other than say hi to my wife, is, I go through Twitter and I start looking and seeing what transpired over the night, in the cybersecurity space. It's a real easy way in as short of form as possible to be able to look and see what's going on inside of the cybersecurity space. Memes room is popular. That does not surprise me. That does not surprise me. I used to work for a guy from Red Dragon Security. Most of the stuff I learned was street hacking. That's a lot of what I talk. I mean, look, I'll talk to people about pen testing stuff and bug bounty stuff and things like that. But I'm a huge fan of pen testers should learn how to hack the way that hackers hack networks, right? And it's not to say that that's all of the types of pen tests that you'll ever do in your entire career, but I think that that's something that should be taught is how to hack like real hackers hack. At least that's the way that I've always taught it, honestly. How do you protect companies from logins from fake ID takeovers? I think I saw somebody throw up the two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is the number one way to protect any type of account. If you do not have multi-factor authentication on your account, it better be because the website or application doesn't support it. But I can tell you from years of experience of doing those types of things that 99.9% of the account takeover, fake ID, password stuffing, credential stuffing, password harvesting, password dumping, whatever you want to call it, types of attacks can be protected with multi-factor authentication. Now, there will always be some people out there who is like, Neil, there's breaks and hacks and things like that for multi-factor authentication. There absolutely is. They require some more targeted, more sophisticated, more directed, more intentional types of attacks. But 99.9% of the hacks out there can be protected with multi-factor authentication. Primary CS programming proficiency languages: Bash, PowerShell, Python. Yep. Read, understand HTML, C++, Java, JavaScript, and regex. Agree or disagree? Looking at that line, Bash, agree. PowerShell, I wouldn't call. So I don't think you need programming proficiency languages, right? There's a lot of back and forth about how much programming do you really need to know in the cybersecurity space, right? And if we go back down to like tactical, operation, strategic level, even if you look inside of a CISO organization, right? Tactical level, do you need to be proficient in all three of the languages that you have there? Absolutely not. Does it help? Absolutely. Can you get away with being proficient in 0 of those languages? 100%. Are you better if you know all 3? Absolutely. So I don't think that I think that there's a space, because look, here's the thing. Some people have the aptitude for programming and some don't. And I don't think that it's fair to say that for you to be successful in cybersecurity, you have to know programming, because I think that you can be successful at the tactical layer in a SOC without a knowledge of Bash, PowerShell, and or Python. So I'm just cautious of saying that it's proficiency in that. Should be able to read, understand. I think that's probably more applicable to all of those that you have there, but I would disagree as well on the C#, the Java, or the JavaScript, just because I go back to, I think those are too specific, and you're kind of tunneling it down to, well, all the malware you're ever going to see or all the attack techniques you're ever going to see are going to be C#, Java, or JavaScript. I do think regex is helpful. And regex will blow up most people's minds, but I do think regex is absolutely helpful. So I would say familiarize yourself with all of the language that SecIT guy has there in chat. Do I think you need to be proficient? No. Do I think you should pick one to at least get the feather in your cap? Absolutely, 100%. I think Bash is probably the easiest of those that are listed, or HTML is the easiest of those to get familiar with. I think if I were to rank what you have there, from like what would I learn first to what would I learn last, I would go with Bash, regex, PowerShell. So I'm hitting the command line ones first. Then I would go to HTML for a web, then JavaScript, then Python, then Java, then C#. That's how I would rank those if I were to rank them. Yes, I'm very new. Do you recommend me trying some CTF stuff? 100%. Make sure you subscribe/follow the channel here. We do a lot of live CTF stuff as well. And so you can do CTFs with us, and we won't give you the answers, but we'll do our best as a community to help you solve puzzles. Stay tuned to the channel. Follow our schedule either here or in Discord. We'll let you know when we do CTFs here, or you can do CTFs on your own. I think if you haven't seen it, I'll kind of show this site for folks who are interested in doing CTFs. This is probably one of the best kind of CTF organized websites that are out there. I kind of drop this into chat so that you guys have it. CTF time. You can create a team. We do have the cyber insecurity team on here that does list all of the CTFs that are out there. It'll tell you that they're Jeopardy style or attack and defense, hack quest, things like this. But This is fantastic. A lot of people talk about things like Try Hack Me, VulnHub, Hack the Box, and things like that. I do think all of those things are good. I'm not going to knock any of those, those types of, CTF style type things done. I do want to caution folks who are looking at CTFs, right? CTFs are not hacking. CTFs are not pen testing. CTFs are more like, going to the gym, right? You don't, unless you're in CrossFit, right? You're not going to do a sport, that is just, doing curls or, burpees or things like that. And so CTFs are very much, your gym workouts. When it comes to keeping your muscle memory straight. So don't equate, am I good at a CTF with I'm elite sauce master hacker, type thing. They're two vastly different mentalities. So use the CTFs, use Try Hack Me, use Hack the Box and things like this to stretch your muscle memory, but know that there are vastly different things involved with that. Wish I had this advice about Twitter when I signed up. Glad that was helpful. Glad we were able to help you with something on the stream tonight. Thank you very much. I do it for the fun, just to get the attack behavior down, but I work blue team side for the most part. So Classified brings up a good point about the attack behavior down and working on the blue team for the most part. I think everybody should learn some parts of red team activity. I think understanding, the best defense is a good offense. I think Sun Tzu said that, either that or it was some other actor that was out there that said that. So I think everybody should do some form of offensive capture the flags, type activities, even if you are doing the blue team type stuff. I feel like following the wrong person on Twitter can be detrimental to reputation or future opportunities. Absolutely not. I think I don't agree with that at all, Fuzzy Framework. In all the years that I've ever, hired people or looked for jobs, I think I've hired like over thousands of people in my entire career. I've never looked at who they follow on Twitter as a determination as to whether I'm going to hire them or not. Whoever told you that was being toxic, and that's all the reason why you shouldn't associate with them. But I think hiring managers and HR people have a hard enough time sorting through resumes enough as it is. Number one, that nobody's going to look through who you follow on social media to determine whether you're good enough or not to bring into the organization. Number one. Number two, we are in a cyber security, talent shortage. And so really, anybody who out there who can breathe cyber shouldn't have an issue getting a job. So that's absolutely not true at all, Fuzzy Framework. I'm sorry if anybody has told you that, but that is absolutely not true. Like Facebook, it does, but two-factor authentication just makes it harder for you to access your own account and get locked out, so most don't use it. If you think that two-factor auth makes it harder for you to access your own account, then I think you haven't been a victim of an account takeover. Two-factor auth is probably the single easiest way for you to protect your account, and it really is like 2 seconds worth of work. Nice ranking. Thanks, SecIT guy. I appreciate that. People use C# nowadays. There's actually an entire C2 framework out there that's really, really good. Let me see if I can find these guys on Twitter. It's BC Security. Yeah, these guys here. Follow these guys if you're looking for some really good red teaming type development work. But these guys at BC Security, they took over the Empire framework as well, and they've also built a C# type of there it is right there, C#. It's on GitHub. Yep. So they've done all sorts of C# parsers and helpers as well for red team type activities. So absolutely, yeah, C# is still very much used out there, 100%. I lost my days. Yeah, there it is. Hey, Ant-Man, welcome to the stream. Welcome back again. Learning security engineering, Python, Bash, PowerShell are super important, especially in cloud infrastructure, security automation. Security automation is key if you're new into cybersecurity, or even if you're looking for a change. Security automation, like as more and more organizations start to pick up security automation, you're going to be ridiculously invaluable. If you do dive into the security automation, this is where I will say Python is insanely important, and being able to understand APIs and doing API calls via Python. I will say that is immensely important to be able to do all of that. So I would absolutely agree that if you were going to dive into something very, very specific like security automation, Python and APIs are going to be your absolute best friends. Thank you, my paranoia appreciates this. Awesome, glad to see that. Honestly, I wouldn't work for a company that does that deep via my social media. Just doesn't bode well for employer to employee relationships. Too much stress. I completely agree with that. I had a conversation with somebody I'm mentoring on the side, and I was trying to encourage them to post more stuff onto LinkedIn, and they were talking about how everything that they post on LinkedIn had to be vetted by their employer. And I was like, if you allowed that to be in your employee agreement, then you messed up. Let me just say this. Let me say this about employee agreements. I don't know how many people know this, but you realize that your employee agreements, you can take those to a lawyer if you happen to have a lawyer on retainer, and you can have your employer or your lawyer review your employee agreement, and you can decide whether you want to make changes to it, send it back over. You should totally take ownership of things like your employee agreement. And I actually told this person that I was mentoring, he was working for a startup, and I was like, again, we're getting back to being in a talent shortage. The companies out there need you and want you to work for them. If something in your employee agreement, like the social media stuff, you don't like that, it doesn't bode well for you, I'd push back on that 100%. And it does sound toxic anyway, so there's also that. How well do you need to understand the internals of the Linux kernel? Unless you are writing Linux malware, not at all. For most of the things that you need to do, unless you are writing Linux malware or specifically reverse engineering Linux specific malware, which there isn't a whole lot of out there, you don't need to understand the internals of Linux kernel very well. Hey, there's Security Live. Welcome to the stream, Security Live. Glad to see you as always. I was touting up earlier. I was touting up .conf. If you're interested in doing more or learning more Splunk related stuff and really learning from, like, I consider myself versed in Splunk, but if you're looking for a dude who is, talk about Splunk smart, go follow Security Live. He's in chat right now. Go follow his stream on Twitch. Go look at his Splunk content. That dude is wicked smart when it comes to Splunk. He's really awesome. Also, Security Live, we were also looking at, I just lost it. Where was the Splunk? There it is. Yeah, this one. I was showing everybody the Splunk operator for Kubernetes as well. So, but yeah, so. Try out community versions of Phantom and Demisto. Simplify as well. Simplify now has a community version as well. They're a Simplify. They're a new startup. They also have, as well as there's actually a couple really, really, really good open source SOAR tools that are out there. Open source SOAR. Pawn Owl is one. Shuffle is one. So, Patra Owl. Patra Owl is an open source SOAR tool. Shuffle is another open source SOAR tool. Lots of good opportunities to play with frameworks like this. Probably zoom that in. There we go. Lots of opportunities to play with frameworks like this on the open source SOAR side. So again, you can do this, practice your Python skills and your API skills for integrations. It doesn't have to be security tool related. You could, anything that's got an API, you can write Python middleware for these, as that you want to. And this will help kind of build up those skill sets for doing that type of stuff. If you're new, pay attention to SOAR platforms. Absolutely. Data analytics practices in theory. Yep. Engineering everything through harmoniously. Absolutely. That's engineering everything to work harmoniously is a challenge. I think that if you paid attention to Wednesday's stream, we had Rick here. As I kind of poked him hard about XDR, I think that's really what we were talking about is, the need of something like XDR to, kind of keep everything running harmoniously. But SOAR and data analytics and automation and things like that, I think that gets back to what I was saying before is, if you're looking for a niche, I say Splunk as a niche. We had somebody on the stream, I can't remember who it was. We had somebody on the stream who's, a Splunk engineer looking to move into Splunk architecture work and doing more Splunk type work. I think that's a place where you can really be niche and make a really good, position for yourself inside the industry. And I think SOAR and automation is someplace where you could really make a niche for yourself in the automation as well. Maltego as well, yeah. What's the premium version of Maltego like? So I've paid for the premium version of Maltego. Really, it's the number of transforms that you can run. I'm going to add that to. So I'm working on the agenda for the OSINT section. I am going to do a section on Maltego because Maltego is probably one of the most misconstrued open source intelligence tools that are out there. People are just like, oh, just go get Maltego, and then you get Maltego and you legitimately have no idea like what it is that you're doing inside of Maltego. And so stay tuned to the stream for when we do our OSINT primer, and we're going to dive into Maltego. But it's the number of transforms you can run, which is basically the number of searches. And really, unless you're doing massive OSINT projects, you really don't need the premium version of it. Demisto, wish it had better licensing practices from Sec IT Guy. I think everybody's still trying to figure out the right way to do pricing on SOAR. I remember when Splunk first bought Phantom and they were doing pricing on Phantom on an event per second basis, which was horrible. Then they tried to do it on an ingestion basis like their Splunk platform, and it was horrible. And I think they finally went to a per seat basis, which is a little bit better. Yeah. Security Live. Yep. There we go. With the transform question. Cool. I'll go back over to Pew Pew Maps and I'll head back over to Discord and finish working on Discord a little bit. Hey, Outlandish, would you recommend any particular cybersec projects for beginners? I have no IT experience, but feel I need at least something IT related on my resume. I would start with Home Labs. Honestly, if you're looking to do, you're gonna start to see everybody chiming in with Home Labs on this one. I think if you're looking for any IT experience, just something to touch, put it on your resume. We did a resume primer, I think 2 weeks ago when we did that resume primer, and I showed people how to put things like Home Labs and projects and whatnot on your resume. Go to Twitch, go to the video section and look at the resume one that we did a few weeks ago. I think it was towards the end of the stream. We talked about how to put Home Labs and things like that on your resume to make them more relevant. But any Home Lab activity would be a good project to do. We had somebody mention Security Onion. We were actually talking about Security Onion earlier. I don't know. Security Onion might be a little much. I'll throw it out there as a potential. But I would say you could probably get by with let's see, let's drop this in over here. Right here, Security Onion. One of the things about Security Onion that's awesome is it's all in one, security monitoring and whatnot. So it's got all the systems to set up here. You can download it in a VM. You could build it from source and do everything yourself. You can, bring data into it and whatnot. Where's the documentation piece? They usually have like a network diagram with Security Onion, so you can kind of see how everything works together. But this is going to take forever to load up, isn't it? Wow. Oh, there it goes. Where's their architecture? There it is, architecture. Right, so if you roll into the architecture, you can kind of see what the architecture like this is set up. This may or may not be a little overkill for you, but either way, I think the general premise is I'd start with Home Labs and start working out from there. Home Labs, yep. Demisto has a per seat license, but it's really high for the initial, yeah. Not a problem, Outlandish. Feel free to ask me more if that's all you got. When we say home labs, where it's just generally speaking calc math, in terms of like just creating your own home lab, right? So even at its core, if you were to like have a Windows machine and a Kali machine, and you were to practice, using Kali Linux, against a Windows machine, that's a home lab. That's a very simple home lab, right? If you were to have two virtual machines, one that was a domain controller and one that was a workstation, and you were to practice setting up a domain controller and practice adding a workstation to that domain, that's a home lab, right? Home labs isn't a thing you go download or buy. It's more of just a concept of taking technology and building it, inside of your own laptop or desktop or whatever it is. Let's see, something like that, some type of just really easy network architecture. That's the easiest way to do it. Could you do it with a Raspberry Pi? You could do a machine with Raspberry Pi, right? So you could probably do like a Linux machine with a Raspberry Pi, but you're probably going to need a bunch of other stuff as well. As a reminder, don't forget, we are looks like we're still 25% away from our next giveaway. Make sure you're turning in those Hacked Planet scores. You, the community, get to determine when we do our next giveaway by turning in those Hacked Planet scores. Don't forget, we did launch the Discord, so make sure you use that @ Discord to hop on over there. Looks like the meme channel is blowing up. That was not a surprise. That's care of Sec IT guy for the suggestion on the meme channel. If you are a subscriber on Twitch, it should automatically match you up with a subscriber role over on Discord. Subscribers do get access to the subscriber-only chat as well as the CTF collab, and some other subscriber stuff that we're going to add in over on Discord as well. Plus, Tier 3 subscribers are the only ones that can do video streaming on Discord, and our subs are the only ones who can use the voice channels over on Discord. Why do people use Kali? Convenience. I think that's 100% it. There's literally nothing that you can't install on any other Debian-based Linux OS. That Kali they put in a lot of development effort to check dependencies, make sure that you've got all the stuff working together and things like that. Convenience is really the best way to do it, is because you can get it and you can have an all-in-one platform with all your dependencies and everything taken care of. They've built their own repos, and so they do their own development to make sure that when you do an apt-get update, you're getting updates that are relevant for the packages that are installed on Kali. I'll give you an example, right? So Metasploit, you can download Metasploit from source from the GitHub page. But you have to go through the hassle of configuring your Ruby virtual environment on that machine. And then if you actually run the risk of doing get updates and apt-get updates and things like this, and ruining your Ruby environment, ruining your Metasploit configuration, ruining your Postgres database on the back end. It can be done, and people do it all the time. But with Kali, it's kind of like a low barrier to entry where you don't have to mess with that as often. And so if you're not ready to deal with the hassle of putting your own tools into your own like Linux distro, then you can absolutely use Kali for something like that. There is a new post about UEFI. I did see the UEFI malware in the wild. I'll add that one to the topics for Monday's stream to talk about the UEFI stuff. Thanks for tuning into the stream, Calc Math. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again to all of our new followers and all the new visitors and new joiners for tonight. Appreciate everybody checking into the stream. Having just a chat and chill night. AMA, as you can see, lots of questions going through on chat. We'll let the Pew Pew map go and a little bit of music in the background and answer questions. Have I ever been hacked? Yes, absolutely. Back a long time ago, I was running a website for a World of Warcraft guild that I was in. This was probably 2005, 2006, somewhere around in there. And I had stood up a very basic PHP CMS, content management system, and knew all the offensive side. I didn't have any problem with the offensive side. I didn't know crap about defending a website or troubleshooting code or anything like that. And I did miss an update. From the CMS vendor, and then I got caught up in a Google Dork mass PHP exploit attempt by the Syrian Electronic Army back in the day that took down my my World of Warcraft guild PHP site. So that was the first time I'd been on the receiving end of a hack. Hey, thank you, Security Live, for the tier 3 sub. Always appreciate you. He's got the hacker man. With his tier 3 sub. Appreciate you, Security Live, as always. You ever done threat hunting via cloud environments? Any suggestion for behavior markers? I wouldn't call it specifically for cloud environments. I think if you're still, pulling your IOCs and whatnot into your SIM and whatnot, I think threat hunting inside the cloud environment from a tactic perspective is pretty much the same. I think if you're looking for markers or indicators, again, I don't think that there's any. I think the only specific things that I would look for is more around if you're talking about AWS, how do they go from VPC to VPC? Looking for cred misuse, like an easy DevOps snafu where somebody uploads to GitHub some of the keys and certs and secrets to GitHub, and then those are used by non-developers to gain access to cloud environments. Carmen Mod, if she's still paying attention, Carmen Mod does a ton of work in cloud environments. She's a cloud security expert. Maybe she could enlighten some markers or some things to look for from a cloud security hunt perspective. But she's our resident cloud security ninja. I love Security Live's emotes. He's got for those who don't know, if you look at Security Live's emotes, that emote on the left hand side there, that is actually Security Live's face. It looks just like his face. That I've seen his hair look exactly like that. That is how scary that emote is. It was. We try to appreciate that. Appreciate that comment. We try to stream pretty regularly. Like I said, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. We try to bring lots of industry guests on. We've had lots of folks on in the past. I encourage you to go to the videos and watch, watch some of the videos of some of the special guests that we've had on. We're going to have, for those who don't know, we're going to have Rob Leon on November 7th when we present at Secure West Virginia and whatnot. One of the premises behind this stream, when we've stood it up, right, is that I feel like there's a ton of people who are doing like strictly hacking streams, and I think people like, use that like try hack me and hack the box stuff to try to gain viewership stuff. But literally in my intro, I talk about how we're trying to bring the conversation about cybersecurity up a whole nother level and really, have meaningful conversations about cybersecurity as an industry and less focused on, oh my God, lead sauce hacksaws, stuff like this. And I like showing this quote from last Wednesday's stream. This was completely unsolicited from Rick, who was our guest on Wednesday. He's from VMware Carbon Black. And, it's real conversations with real people, and this is what I told Chad earlier, right? Which is, I think everybody, this is a result of everybody who's on this chat right now. You guys bringing the real questions to experts like Rick. This brings executives closer to the community to answer real questions, and it gives you guys an opportunity to see what's happening out there across the entire cybersecurity industry. Again, don't get me wrong, I could talk about the red team stuff, and I love the red team stuff all day long, but there's a lot more to cybersecurity than red teaming activities, and pen testing in most organizations is such a finite, small role. It brings very, very little overall value to the entire cybersecurity organization to simply focus just on red team type stuff. So, appreciate the feedback. I love doing this stream. I love everybody who comes to the stream and supports it. And so, thank you very much for the feedback. The Discord channel is there. Make sure you're in the Discord channel. There is a content suggestion channel in there. Always looking for you guys' suggestions on content. And as well, we're all the time giving stuff away. So make sure you're using those Hacked Planet scores to determine when we give our next giveaway away, and be like Security Live and throw that sub in there so that we get to that score a little bit faster. So you mentioned Metasploit 08067 or something like that. I've been trying to research what this is exactly, but I'm not finding it anywhere. Yeah, absolutely. It's MS08067. That's what you should search for. 67. Here we go. Drop this in there. So, very few exploits that we had prior to the Shadow Brokers release for the one that did WannaCry gave us unequivocal, if you ran it, you were going to pop a shell, right? That type of exploit, especially on a Windows system, right? People have this like idea that like you can just roll into Metasploit and you can just fire up any Windows exploit and boom, you're going to gain a Windows shell. But it's actually like super hard, to find reliable level exploits. Hey, thanks Extra Jewel for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. It's really hard to find reliable Windows exploits, ones that are remote, meaning that you start from a completely outside hacker perspective, you throw at a port, you exploit a vulnerability in said port, and you get a shell on that port. Local privilege escalations, local privilege shells we can get all day long, but one where you target a specific port, you throw an exploit and a payload at that port, and you get a shell on the back end, very, very hard to come by on Windows systems despite everybody knocking them for their security problems. 08067 was probably the second exploit that we had that for the longest time would allow you unequivocal access to any Windows machine up until Server 2003, and there was a specific patch version. I can't remember if it was the second patch version or not. For the longest time. And believe it or not, like for people who say like, oh God, XP in 2003, who still has those environments? You would be utterly surprised at the market share that XP in 2003 still have out there. And so inside of Metasploit, there is a a module for 08067, and even when you look at that security bulletin that was linked there, is it still AMA? Yeah, absolutely, it's AMA. When you look at a security bulletin there, you'll see like all the vulnerable versions of Windows that it exploits. Like that's an example. If anybody's got an extra Windows XP VM sitting around, fire that thing up into a VM. Fire up Metasploit, throw 08067 in there, and it's just muscle memory on how to use Metasploit to exploit a really easy vulnerability. You could probably still do it these days with MS 1017. So here's the other one, MS 017, right? That's the WannaCry Shadow Brokers, vulnerability that everybody talks about. That's the one that you can use now with Windows 7. That's equally as is devastating. So really, we've only had a handful of those Microsoft vulnerabilities that you can throw right at Microsoft versions and get access to. OpenSock CTF. Almost no one talks about blue purple team stuff or vulnerabilities. It can be a bit more boring, but it's a large part of maintaining a safer environment. Exactly, Sec IT guy. That's why I try to bring as many of those conversations as possible, because to me, I've hacked my entire life. I've been part of the Air Force's offensive hacking organization. I pioneered the first functional training unit for the Air Force, focused primarily on offensive hacking and building those capabilities for the National Security Agency and whatnot. Hella fun, would do it 10 times over. But honestly, if you want to bring more value to your organization, if you want to be invaluable to every organization, focus on the blue team stuff. It's way cooler to be blue team. I do know much, absolutely. Thanks, Fuzzy Framework. I appreciate that. That's awesome feedback. Thank you very much for that. This is one we're doing. We're keeping it kind of chill tonight, hence the chill stream. Very AMA-ish. We've been at this for about 3 hours now. Lots of good questions as people come and go in chat. I've been doing some development in the back end, working on the new Discord channel and whatnot. Typically, we try to have guests where possible. I think on Monday, I think my good friend Jeff, if you remember last week we had Jeff on the stream on Monday. I think Jeff will be back. I think Jeff's going to end up being a staple guest for us on our Monday stream. He's got good stream personality and whatnot. On November 7th, for those who didn't hear earlier, we will have Rob Lee from Dragos Inc. He's going to be on the stream on November 7th. November 7th, we're also doing the Secure West Virginia conference, and so we'll have a pretty good crowd for Secure West Virginia. We're trying to work with that conference promoter to potentially get some more exciting things going on for Secure West Virginia, but at a minimum we'll at least have Rob Lee on for that one. I'm actively pursuing more guests. We do have a waiting list for some of our guests, but I'm actually out there trying to pursue some active leads with other guests that are out there. We've seen an increase in a lot of the gaming hacks and whatnot. So I'm actually trying to find, a CISO from, a few select gaming vendors that are out there to come onto the stream. So, I'm out there hustling for guests for you guys to try to get you guys the best quality guests that we can. First security stream I've ever been in. And for that extra jewel, thank you very, very much for your participation. We're very grateful to have you here. Thank you. First attacker in a joint DoD exercise and was part of cyber protection team with the Marines. We were a brand new team. Most of us only had a year SOC experience. He absolutely cleaned our clocks. doesn't surprise me. I think the best cyber exercise that I was a part of was I did Red Flag years ago out at it was in Nevada, but we were running out of San Antonio because that's where Security Hill is, and that's where we were. That's where we had first started to do some of the NSA Red Team type activity for a joint military exercise, and so that was 2010, I think it was. It was 10 years ago. God, I'm aging myself. When we started to do NSA Red Team activity as part of the joint Red Flag exercise that happened out of the Midwest. If you live in West Virginia, you can hit that exclamation point Secure WV to get the link for Secure West Virginia. It'll be an awesome conference. There's going to be, lots of training going on there. Lots of that one's not free, unfortunately, so you will have to pay for that one. But on the free side, there is a lot of other stuff that we keep talking about. Free Splunk.conf, which you heard us mention earlier, is free this year. If you're a blue team or interested in blue team type stuff, or just generally interested in Splunk related stuff, .conf is definitely something that you need to be a part of and whatnot. Hacker Halted is free this year, things like that. Thanks for the caps lock there, Security Live. Appreciate that. Well, I hate to hear that it wasn't so exciting. We actually had a lot of fun at Red Flag. Yeah, we were talking about the new boss of the SOC. We'll probably put together a cyber insecurity team for that. So stay tuned. We may put out some calls for team members for participating in that boss of the SOC. When you mention tactical, operation, and strategic, can you go into more detail about what each layer entails and what each one implies for overall cybersecurity strategy? Absolutely. Typically speaking, we keep those three. Those three originally started with cyber threat intelligence, right? So on a cyber threat intelligence perspective, tactical level intelligence is very much hands on keyboard. It's if you think about it from an intelligence perspective. Hey, thanks for gifting a tier 1 sub there, Security Live. Appreciate that. Tactical is examples of that would be like your IOC threat intelligence, phishing, taking apart phishing headers and phishing campaigns, researching phishing domains, looking at those very day-to-day tactical level indicators. That's very much that tactical level threat intelligence. And operational threat intelligence is more looking at trends. Hey, we see take zero login and the stuff that happened with zero login since it came out, right? We knew that zero login had come out. Then we knew that there was a proof of concept code. And if you actually followed the stream, we talked about zero login when it hit, but then we talked about zero login as soon as we saw that somebody had released to GitHub that they had put the proof of concept code for zero login inside of Mimikatz, and we knew that at some point in time we were going to see exploitation in the wild of zero login, because once you saw it in Mimikatz, and Mimikatz is one of the biggest things that we still see threat actors use out there on machines. We knew that we were going to see some mass exploitation of zero login. And then a couple of days later, we did actually see Microsoft come out with some indicators of an Iranian threat group that was using that proof of concept code and zero login to actively exploit governments inside the Middle East. So that's an example of using operational threat intelligence. So you're out there looking for those types of news pieces and piecing them together so that you can operationally navigate your security operations center, to be aware of precursor indicators, leading indicators of potential threat activity that could be coming your way. And then strategic intelligence is more geared towards helping the senior leaders of an organization think about cybersecurity holistically. One of the companies that I worked for in the past, when we built strategic level intelligence for them, we did what was referred to as priority intelligence requirements, where we went out and asked them what were things that were important for them from an intelligence perspective, and they happened to be doing a lot of R&D work that was very cutting edge in the medical device space. And so they had some specific encryption that they were using as part of this medical device thing. And so we went out and we kept an ear out for whenever things hit the airwaves about that particular type of intelligence. And then we wrote strategic intelligence reports up for them about that encryption so that they could then take that and apply that to their strategic vision when it came to shifting that, that medical device strategy. And so that's kind of an example from a CTI perspective, how you break up the tactical, operational, and strategic level intelligence. And so then you take that and you expand that out to an entire cybersecurity organization. You can kind of see the concept expanded out in a bigger form. So looking for follow-up questions to that. Let me know if you've got any follow-up questions for that one. I think, like whatever it is from a boss of the SOC perspective, fuzzy framework, we'll probably still try to stream it here. We're not going to do it from like a, highly competitive sense, in the sense of like, esports type gaming type stuff. We'll do it more from a community perspective, which is like we've done for a lot of our CTS. If you ask folks about like some of the CTS we've done in the past, it's more about trying to make sure everybody's learning something about it together. We won't give away any answers, but we'll try to make sure that we bring everybody along. So it's more like, 50% pros and like, 50% rookies, but it's imagine all of us in a community together, all learning it together at the same time. Operational, tactical keyboard, operational managers, core industry, CISO long term. I think that's a fair way to put it. I think, but even if you look at your SOC, right? If you're a SOC director, you can still do tactical, operational, strategic, and just change those out to be like SOC director, IR manager, and IR analyst. If you can still do tactical, operational, strategic. If you're red team, like if you're a red team director, you could have a red team director being strategic. You can have operational being like, network lead, web lead, IoT lead, something like that. And then you have tactical being, some of your junior pen testers and things like that. So I think you can apply it at a couple different levels. Just make sure that you've got that flow up and down. If you would know this Sec IT guy because you came from DoD, but if anybody else is wanting to learn a little bit more about some military concepts that would help, strategy to task is a cool military concept, and that's basically what we're talking about to do that as well. As you develop a high level operational or high level strategic objective, and then you go from strategy to operational objectives to tactical objectives, kind of in that strategy to task format. And that's very much what we're talking about to try to achieve that, is strategy to task. Yep, ops orders are great too. Yep, I think ops orders are a great way to look at that too. I would call that more strategic than anything else, because ops orders are then given to combatant commanders to develop their operational objectives. All right, we're hitting 10:15 here in the Central Standard Time Zone. We've been at it for a while. I do appreciate everybody. I'm probably gonna look to sign off. It's been about 3.5 hours. Don't anybody go anywhere. We are gonna go raid another streamer, but in the meantime, I do want to turn it over to make a last call for questions and answers for folks who are who are interested. For up-to-the-minute cybersecurity news, make sure you follow and subscribe to the Cyber and Security channel on Twitch and YouTube. Also, make sure you turn on those notifications so that you know when we go live.